Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we like to blend casual conversations with some pretty insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets. We've got some seriously cool stuff to cover today.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so first up, let's talk about something that sounds straight out of science fiction. A private company just landed on the moon. Firefly Aerospace, a company you might not have heard of,
Oh, yeah.
successfully touched down their Blue Ghost lander on March 2nd, 2025.
Yeah, this is a landmark achievement, not just because it's the first fully commercial moon landing, but it also signifies a shift, I think, in how we're approaching space exploration. Remember Intuitive Machines, that other company that tried to land recently?
Yeah.
Their lander kind of tipped over, unfortunately, but Blue Ghost, they stuck the landing, perfectly stayed upright, ready to conduct its mission.
And what a mission it is. This little lander about the size of a small car is carrying 10 science experiments for NASA. It's going to be drilling beneath the lunar surface, testing GPS technology on the moon. I mean, come on. That's incredible.
It really highlights how NASA is partnering with these private companies to make space exploration more accessible, more frequent, and it could be a game changer for lunar research, potentially leading to, new discoveries and a better understanding of our celestial neighbor.
It's almost like we're entering this new era of space exploration, kind of like the Wild West, but on the moon.
Right.
It makes you wonder, could this lead to moon bases, lunar mining operations, or even, wait for it, moon tourism someday?
While those possibilities are certainly exciting to think about, let's focus on the immediate significance of this mission.
Okay.
It marks a crucial step towards establishing a sustainable lunar economy.
All right.
We're talking about developing technologies and infrastructure that could enable a long-term human presence on the moon.
Okay, I'll try to contain my excitement about moon vacations for now.
Yeah.
But you're right, this is about building a future on the moon, not just a quick trip, but hey, speaking of things that might impact our future here on Earth, let's shift gears and talk about something a little less glamorous, but equally important: tariffs.
Ah, yes, the world of economics. It may not be as flashy as space travel, but it certainly has the potential to affect our wallets just as much, if not more.
Exactly. So President Trump recently imposed some pretty hefty tariffs on goods coming from Canada and Mexico, including a 25% tariff on a lot of tech products.
Yeah.
And this is a big deal because we've been largely free trading with our neighbors for decades.
Right, and this policy shift has sent ripples throughout various industries, including the tech sector, and has sparked a lot of debate. Some argue that these tariffs will protect American jobs and industries, while others warn that they could lead to higher prices for consumers and disrupt established supply chains.
And those concerns are very real. Just to give you an idea of the scale of this scale, the U.S. imports about $43 billion worth of tech products from Canada, and a whopping $168 billion from Mexico every year. Now add that 25% tariff on top.
Yeah.
And we're talking about an extra cost of over $50 billion. And, that extra cost is likely going to be passed down to consumers like us.
That's a key point. Those increased costs often trickle down to the end consumer. Think about something like a smartphone. Many components are sourced from different countries, including Canada and Mexico. These tariffs could potentially add hundreds of dollars to the price tag of your next phone upgrade.
Oof, that's not good news for anyone who loves gadgets. And it's not just tech either. Imagine buying a new car, for example. Parts constantly move back and forth between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico during the manufacturing process. This seamless flow is now disrupted, which means car companies are paying more. And guess what? You're paying more at the dealership.
It's a domino effect. And these increased costs are causing concern not just for consumers, but also for retailers like Target and Best Buy. If their profits are squeezed because of tariffs, they might have to raise prices or even reduce their selection of products.
Yeah, it's definitely a complex situation with a lot of moving parts. But, there's another crucial piece of the tech puzzle that's closely tied to all this talk about tariffs. Semiconductors, these tiny chips, are like the brains of all our electronic devices, from smartphones and laptops to cars and even refrigerators.
Semiconductors are the unsung heroes of the digital age, and their importance can't be overstated. And speaking of semiconductors, there's a fascinating development that's adding another layer of complexity to this whole tariff situation.
I know what you're going to say. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, also known as TSMC, is investing a mind-blowing $100 billion to build semiconductor factories right here in the U.S.
That's right. Wow.
TSMC is already building facilities in Arizona, and they're planning to add 5 more factories, plus research centers. Their total investment in the U.S. is expected to reach a staggering $165 billion. This is being hailed as a major win for American manufacturing and a boost for the domestic semiconductor industry.
It sounds like fantastic news. But wait, didn't you mention earlier that some of those tariffs could impact semiconductors coming from Taiwan? That's where the plot thickens.
Uh-oh.
While TSMC is making a massive investment in U.S. manufacturing, some of the tariffs imposed by the Trump administration could actually affect the very chips that TSMC is planning to produce here. It's a bit of a head-scratcher, isn't it?
It's like a mixed message. On one hand, we're encouraging TSMC to invest billions in American manufacturing.
Right.
But on the other hand, we're potentially making their products more expensive because of tariffs. It's like we're taking one step forward and two steps back.
It highlights the intricate interplay between global trade economic policies and technological advancements. It's a delicate balancing act with potential consequences for everyone involved.
I guess you could say it's a classic case of it's complicated,
Mm-hmm.
but despite all this uncertainty, there are glimmers of optimism on the horizon.
Tell me more about these glimmers of hope.
Well, remember that big tech conference in San Francisco we talked about earlier? Even with all the talk about tariffs and economic jitters, there's this palpable sense of excitement and optimism about the future of technology and innovation.
That's encouraging.
Yeah.
It seems like even with the challenges and uncertainties, the tech world remains optimistic about its ability to adapt and innovate.
Exactly. It's like everyone's acknowledging the bumps in the road, but still believe in the long-term potential of technology to make a positive impact.
It's that unwavering belief in progress that continues to drive the tech industry forward, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Well said.
Welcome back to Byte-Sized Tech, where we break down the latest trends shaping the world of technology.
And we're picking up right where we left off, navigating this crazy landscape of tariffs, investments, and innovation. Speaking of innovation, there's another tech giant. We need to talk about ByteDance, the parent company of the wildly popular TikTok.
ByteDance, their valuation has skyrocketed to over $400 billion. That's more than some countries' GDPs.
Wow.
It really highlights their dominance in the social media world, but they're not stopping there.
It's mind-boggling how TikTok is just one part of their massive empire. What else is fueling their meteoric rise?
Well, ByteDance is betting big on the future, specifically artificial intelligence. They've committed a whopping $12 billion to acquiring and developing AI chips by 2025. That's a serious investment in the technology that's poised to revolutionize so many industries.
Wow, $12 billion. That's not just dipping their toes in the AI pool. That's a full-on cannonball. But seriously, what are they hoping to achieve with all that AI power?
They're looking to supercharge everything from content recommendation and data analysis to developing entirely new AI-driven applications. Imagine a future where TikTok not only knows what videos you want to watch, but can also create personalized content just for you or even predict upcoming trends.
That's both fascinating and a little creepy, but definitely intriguing. It seems like AI is the secret ingredient in so many cool technologies these days.
Absolutely. And ByteDance is wisely positioning itself to be a leader in this AI revolution, but they're not just focused on AI. They're also thinking globally. Get this. They're planning to invest $8.8 billion to build data centers in Thailand over the next 5 years.
Thailand. That's interesting. Why Thailand, of all places?
It's strategic. They're seeing massive growth in Southeast Asia, and they need the infrastructure to support that expansion. These data centers will ensure reliable service for their growing user base in the region. ByteDance is playing the long game, thinking years ahead.
It's impressive how they're not content with just riding the TikTok wave. They're diversifying their portfolio, expanding their reach, and investing in cutting-edge technology.
It's a smart strategy for any company, especially in the fast-paced tech world. It's like the old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. They're building a resilient business that can weather storms and capitalize on new opportunities.
That makes a lot of sense, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows for ByteDance, is it? I seem to recall some, shall we say, challenges, particularly with TikTok's operations here in the U.S.
Right. There's been a lot of regulatory scrutiny surrounding TikTok, particularly concerns about data privacy and national security. Some lawmakers have even floated the idea of banning TikTok in the U.S. or forcing ByteDance to sell its U.S. operations.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
It's a delicate situation, to say the least.
It is. But this is where ByteDance's diversified portfolio and strategic investments come into play. Even if TikTok faces setbacks in the U.S., they have other avenues for growth and stability.
So it's a balancing act, really.
Right.
They're pushing boundaries and innovating at a breakneck pace, but they're also navigating a complex global landscape with political and economic hurdles. It's like walking a tightrope while juggling flaming torches.
That's a pretty apt analogy. And speaking of navigating complexity, let's circle back to the U.S. for a moment and revisit that tangled web of tariffs and investments we were discussing earlier.
You mean that head-scratching situation with TSMC investing billions in U.S. semiconductor factories while simultaneously facing potential tariffs on chips coming from Taiwan?
Exactly. It's a classic example of the unintended consequences that can arise when policies collide with global trade and technological advancements. On one hand, we want to encourage domestic manufacturing and bolster our semiconductor industry, which is crucial for national security and economic competitiveness.
But on the other hand, those tariffs could make it more expensive for TSMC to produce chips here, which defeats the purpose of attracting their investment in the first place. It's like we're giving with one hand and taking away with the other.
It highlights the need for policymakers to carefully consider the ripple effects of their decisions, especially in a globalized economy where everything is interconnected.
It's like a giant game of chess, where every move has consequences, and sometimes those consequences are unpredictable.
Well said. And it's not just about companies and governments, it's also about the everyday consumer. We're the ones who ultimately feel the impact of these policies, whether it's through higher prices or limited choices.
You're absolutely right. It's easy to get lost in the abstract discussions about economics and trade. But at the end of the day, it's about how these things affect our lives, our wallets, and our access to the technology we rely on.
It's a reminder that technology isn't just about gadgets and gizmos. It's intertwined with politics, economics, and the very fabric of our society.
That's a profound thought. Welcome back to Byte-Sized Tech. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from a private company landing on the moon to the global implications of tariffs and investments in cutting-edge technologies like AI.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind tour of the tech landscape, highlighting both the incredible advancements and the complex challenges that shape this ever-evolving industry.
You know, as we wrap up this discussion, one thing that really stands out to me is this recurring theme of balance. It seems like everywhere we look in the tech world, there's this tension between these competing forces.
I couldn't agree more. It's like this constant push and pull between innovation and regulation, globalization and nationalism, optimism and uncertainty. Take the TSMC situation, for example. It's fantastic that they're investing billions in U.S. semiconductor manufacturing. But those potential tariffs on chips coming from Taiwan create this counterproductive friction.
Right, it's a delicate balancing act trying to foster domestic industries while also navigating the complexities of global trade. And then you have ByteDance, this ambitious tech giant that's pushing the boundaries of AI and expanding its global footprint while also facing regulatory scrutiny and potential roadblocks.
Yeah, it highlights the fact that the tech world doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's intertwined with politics, economics, social trends, and even national security concerns. Every decision has ripple effects that extend far beyond the immediate industry.
Speaking of ripple effects, I keep thinking back to that tech conference in San Francisco. Despite all the talk about tariffs and economic uncertainty, there was this palpable sense of optimism, a belief that innovation will find a way.
You know, it's that unwavering faith in human ingenuity that has driven the tech industry from the very beginning. There's a sense that even amidst challenges, even when the path forward seems unclear, there's always a new solution, a new breakthrough waiting to be discovered.
It's contagious, that kind of energy. It makes me wonder, what are your key takeaways from this deep dive? What are you pondering as we wrap things up?
Well, for me, it's the realization that we're living in a truly transformative era. We're witnessing the convergence of groundbreaking technologies like AI, the rise of private space exploration, and the blurring of lines between the physical and digital worlds. It's both exhilarating and daunting, and it underscores the need for a thoughtful dialogue and informed decision-making.
Bill said, it's not enough to just be passive consumers of technology.
Yeah.
We need to be active participants in shaping its evolution, understanding its implications, and ensuring that it's used for the betterment of humanity.
Absolutely. And for our listeners, I hope you're walking away from this episode with a sense of wonder, a thirst for knowledge, and perhaps even a few questions of your own. What resonated with you? What sparked your curiosity? We encourage you to share your thoughts and continue the conversation.
That's what we're all about here at Byte-Sized Tech, sparking curiosity, exploring the frontiers of technology, and having some fun along the way. Thanks for tuning into Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.